So I was reading Dr. Fauci's interview about why the African American community is affected more with the coronavirus and why our outcomes are worse. And one of the points that he stated was that because most African Americans and disparaging community don't have the opportunity or the luxury of working remotely from home, or they're mostly essential workers. Probably based on statistics, that may be true. But also, it talked about the health disparities and the underlying health conditions in the African American community. And I would just say, of course, it is hitting us hard in the African American community and in the disparaging communities. But when you take a look around the communities as well, you see that there are lack of resources everywhere. The resources are the grants and the monies and the resources that are said to go to this community are usually funneled through charities that say that they're working with these people, but then basically don't apply the resources to the needs that they say they're going to meet. Yes, they're always going to be sick, and they're always going to be mentally ill. There are always going to be people that are in disparity. That is a given. That is just human nature, but that is also our way of redemption. So where too much is given, much is required. If you are given something, it is in your power to do better by a person, and that's what you do. And when you look around in the disparaging communities, you see a lot of mom and pop shops. You don't see whole foods. You don't see wholesome food. You don't see the resources or the medical, even people, teachers that come into these communities. It's always there with an agenda, because, okay, I'm going to come to this community and teach these underserved children so that I can get my loans written off. But do you really have a heart for this community? Do you have a heart for the people? Do you have a heart for what's going on? Do you really possess what it's called humanity? And that's the thing. It's philanthropic work and social services and giving of yourself is just that. It has to be in you. You have to have a burning desire to see a need. We keep talking about African Americans, the disparities. A lot of disparities can be turned around. Okay, if these underlying conditions are there, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, kidney issues, all of this thing, what it basically comes down to and boils down to is diet, what you're ingesting. And then when you look around in those communities and what's available, you see if you eat chemicals and processed food and you drink liquor, of course there's disparity. But also, if you are in a community where there's nothing but despair, it can't help but rub off if you don't know that there's a better way. Most of us, even myself, the last thing I want to do is go to the hospital, because your complaints are seen as invalid, or they ask you a million different questions as if you don't understand what's going on with your body, and you've been living in this body for umpteen amount of years. You're not taken seriously. Your pain isn't, because we've learned to cope. So we've learned to cope and adaptation, and we ignore a lot of our issues and sicknesses and ailments. And then usually when we do go to get them taken care of, or when they're finally addressed, it's at a stage where it can't be remediated. And so there's a whole lot of talk going on up here about us, so to say, down here, and the attack on us as a people, as a race, Latinx, or the brown community. Whatever you subscribe to is what you subscribe to. I don't like people labeling me a color or a term that's not true, because before I was any of the things that they said I was who I am, and I'll leave that alone. And they know who we are too, as well, as a people. And the amount of energy and the amount of effort that they put into basically exterminating us and giving us false information and withholding resources and creating systems that will continue to keep us in a position where they can continue to prosper from our blackness or our disparities or our ailments is something that we need to educate ourselves on. We need to know, first of all, in order to have a relationship with one another, we have to have an identity of self. And when you identify yourself and the power within you as a human and as a melanated individual, you'll see others that look like you as the same. You won't see them as just that nigga or that broad or that bitch or that somebody you don't like, because when you gain identity of self and you have a deeper relationship and a deeper knowledge of what you are and who you really are, you will see the it or the thing that's in that other person. And right now, when you see another and you look at them in a manner where there's destruction, or you seek their destruction, that means that's the same thing you see in you, because we're mirrors. That's why we're here. We're not, if it was meant for us to live individually, we'd all be on islands, but we're here together to get this right. And a group of us are suffering, and no one asks why. People want to say, oh, lazy is far from an adjective or a way that I would describe anybody that is a child of the diaspora. We now have become stagnant or ignorant, or I would even say sleep. We sleep. They've lullabied us to sleep with all of the chemicals, the processed food, even the money. Had a conversation the other day about money. Why are they giving us money? They don't have a problem passing these bills giving out money, but I don't see anybody giving out land. Land is equivalent to ownership. If you own land, then you have ownership, and you have a civil and a liberal right to speak, and you can take part in what's going on in the economy. If you don't have land, you don't have nothing. So, okay, you got money. Money is nothing. They printing it all day long. Money is digital too. Once you put it in the bank, we can wipe out your money. But if you have a deed to a land, it's pretty hard to, it's been done. They can eminent domain and do a whole lot of other things. But if you have land, then you have ownership. You have the ability to participate in economics. And so that is what we need to really get back into. Our problem as our children of the diaspora, melanated groups of people in disparaging communities, is we lack ownership. And when you don't have ownership and you're not educated and you don't know who and what the beast is that you're fighting, you just get tossed around in the shuffle. I don't know why I ended all the way off on this whole tangent, but it was just something that was on my mind because I'm reading this book, and the book is You're Not a Nigger, and you're not black, and you're not African American, and you're not all of these things that a nation of people have come together and got you to subscribe to. You're more than that. You are a child of the Most High. You've been created in the image of your Creator, and the disparities and the inequity and the inequality is another picture of iniquity. And these very people that sit at the top and say that they are God-fearing Christians and they love people and they follow the Bible, they'll lie, because you can't love a God that you've never ever seen, right? But we walk around all day. God's in us. We are gods. We walk around all day, and you hate the very image of God. Put whatever you want to put on that, but it's the truth. You hate the very image of God. You hate the image of your Creator, because He clothed a particular group of people and He called them out and put them on a platform. And we watch daily what the world, who says they love God, does. So right now, while the world is watching, let's switch up the game. Come on now. We are enraged because our trauma has been suppressed. They've asked us to digress. They've asked us to assimilate and conform and to be indoctrinated, and then to regurgitate the things that they've indoctrinated us with. But we've been given a free will and a keen creative mind. Again, we are creating the image of our Creator. So we have the ability to create, to reason, to love, to create life, to bring forth good and bad. So in that, dig a little deeper. Pay attention to what's really going on. Quit letting them lullaby you to sleep. Quit getting caught up and start asking why. That should be your question for like the next, I say, 10 day challenge. Why? Whenever they say African Americans are the highest in the disparity, why? African Americans are being hit harder by the coronavirus and unemployment, why? African Americans are suffering in education, why? I'll tell you why with that, because we're not teaching our own. We get somebody else who doesn't understand our culture, the context, or the nuances of us and our children and how we love our children, how we teach, and they come with this preconceived notion that we are a certain way, and then they try to impress their images and what they've been taught in their homes upon us, and that's not how we are. We're communal. We love. We're protective. They're gangs because no one else has protected us, so we try to protect ourselves. There are so many reasons why. Let's find out why, and then let's dig a little deeper. Who am I? Who are you? What is your purpose? No one is born or brought here without a purpose. No one. There is no Big Bang or coincidental. Everything is done by intelligent design, and everything being said, if everything is done by intelligent design, it's just as well as there is an ultimate, supreme, perfect intelligence. There's also a counterfeit, and the counterfeit intelligence and the spirit and the nuances alive and well today. We see it acted out every day on CNN, NBC, Fox. We see it. We see the anti whatever, anti-love, anti black, anti-white. We see it every day. So who, why, and what are the challenges for the week? And I just, like I said, can't have a relationship with anyone if you don't know who. You can't say, oh, I'm her friend. What's her name? I don't know. That's not your friend, because with friendship and with understanding comes relationship. There has to be something that connects the two. There has to be something that you relate to. Can't be in a relationship. So there we go further back with your God. You can't have a relationship with God and you don't know God's name. God has a name. And if anybody says he doesn't, that's a lie. Somebody told you he didn't have a name. Because if you don't know the name of the person you're in a relationship with, you don't have a really good relationship, and you sure don't know who to call when you're in trouble. I understand the legislative power and the power of voting and the power of understanding your the congressional system and the judicial system and how the law and how Senate and how Congress is all made up. But know yourself first. Figure out why you a target. Figure out why you on the bottom of the totem pole. Figure out why they want to keep controlling and trying to get you to conform to a thought in a way. A lot of it is fear. Fear of knowing we have done this group of people wrong for so long. And if you know anything about the whole universe as well as the government was formed on law, just that has ways that there are things, there are ways to reconcile and restore. And the fact that people aren't willing to reconcile and restore those things, and the fear that comes with them knowing they have to, says a whole lot. Tells you they know more about you than you know about yourself. So again, that's just my spill for the day. Why, what, and who. Let's get on that. Let's figure that out. And then next time I revisit, maybe even in the comments, you'll let me know who you are, what you are, why they do why our communities are suffering, why we are our disparities in our health are poor, and what is it that we could do about it? Because I hear that a lot. Not eating healthy isn't eating white. Um, Caring about your health, exercising isn't acting white. Um, you are a vessel, and this is all you got. So you have to maintain it while it's here, else it will quit on you. Same thing with your mind, your thoughts, people you surround yourself with, changing up your circle, elevation, getting out of boxes, loosening your roots, get planted in bigger spaces, expanding, leaning in, coming out of your comfort zone, doing what feels uncomfortable. It's not changing up, switching up. It's evolution, and that's what we're supposed to do. Evolve until we leave. You stay the same. If you stay the same way you got here until you leave here, that's sad, because you come as an infant. So you want to graduate from an infantile mind to a young adolescent adult. Then you want to acquire wisdom. You want to grow, and the only way you can grow is get out the box, step out of your comfort zone, step out of your spaces that make you feel comfortable, and get into places where you're challenged to grow. And don't be afraid to say you don't know, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And again, I just went on another 5 minutes after I said I was done, but these things just keep popping up. I have a lot to say. Most of the time I write it down, but this morning I just wanted to share what was going on in my mind, and just wanted to present some questions. Why? What? Who? Have a great Friday.